Hey everyone. I just wanted to make a quick video today regarding rules men should live by, but first I want to say thanks everyone for the support of my channel and spreading my videos around and seeing the value of its content. That really means a lot to me. It really does, because that means more good people will have a chance to wake up and take better control over their lives and choices they make and who to have relationships with. And also how to make the family unit a great thing, as it once was. It means good men from all walks of life, races, nationalities, and backgrounds can take back their masculinity, and can feel good about themselves once again, and good women from all backgrounds can take back their femininity, and can also learn how to have productive relationships. Well, James, what about all of this stuff regarding rules for men? Well, I will tell you what. Take a second to reflect and see how men today are turned into emasculated nothings right before our very eyes, and how just being masculine is seen as something that is wrong, and this is the very thing that women deep down inside want. That is a man that is good but also very masculine, and sadly there's a lot of programming out there that teaches women to be loud, rebellious, and horrible to men. And some men bow down to this because they think it will give them better access to females by just going along with this jacked up situation. Are there men that are horrible to women? Yes. There sure are, but the reality is the majority of the programming on TV and other sources teaches men to be sissies and women to be their masters, and sadly there are many people, if not the majority, that go along with this horrible programming. So by me helping out these men deprogram themselves out of this emasculated behavior, I'm also helping deprogram you women that try these tactics on men when dating them. Because in the end, it ends up being a broken relationship with nothing accomplished except a whole lot of misery and pain. So what is the rule for you men to live by? It's very simple really. You will know a tree by its fruit, and you will have to be ready to leave the forest or garden if the tree is producing rotten fruit. You see, the reason why men find themselves with bad women and in horrible relationships is because most women these men date will put on a good show that anyone might believe, a show of having good fruit on their tree, a show of good deeds, and a show of a lot of affection and warmth. But then something happens. About 6 months into knowing them, they start to change. All of a sudden this tree starts to produce rotten apples now and then. They want to fight with you because you were 5 minutes late picking them up, or you were walking too slow, or they didn't like the face you made while you were reading a book, or a bunch of things that shouldn't really matter to anyone, and you get roped into arguing your points with this whack job, when you clearly know you have done nothing wrong except read a darn book. Not knowing this is the first sign the tree in the garden is rotten to the very roots. But wait. The apples that were produced from the tree for the first 6 months were so perfect, with rich colors, but you had no idea they were all spray painted to look good. But if you took the time to really check out this tree and the apples on it, you would have seen they were all fake and rotten on the inside. But you hang on to the illusion of the way the tree used to look before, and the apples you thought it produced, hoping this rotten tree will surprise you with ripe and good fruit. Now how crazy does that sound? But sadly we have all done this at one point or another, wanting a rotten tree to bear ripe fruit, and through the arguing back and forth about things that are pointless, you are clearly putting this person that is giggling about your pain and hurt onto a pedestal. Men, stop doing this. Stop crawling and worshipping at the feet of a woman. Do not bow, and stand up straight, with your shoulders tall, and turn around and walk out of the garden as quick as you find out the fruit is rotten. Because expecting a rotten tree to produce ripe good fruit is like hoping your wool sweater will one day turn into solid gold. And men, I see this every day. The minute a woman changes her tune from nice to mean, or she starts the sweet mean cycle I've talked about before, the second guessing starts. The why is she acting this way questions start to happen, and trying to see her points for acting this way start to come about, instead of what your reaction should be, which is to walk as fast as your feet will carry you in the opposite direction of this rotten tree with rotten fruit. Hey, I know, You have been hanging out with this rotten tree for a year now. And though it's rotten, you just can't seem to come to terms with the fact that it's rotten to the core. You just can't make yourself leave the garden. So you come up with all kinds of reasons why you love this rotten tree so much. A tree that has fruit that has made you sick, ill, and unable to bring anything good into your life. But hey, when you spray paint it, it sure looks really nice. Simply put, gentlemen, this is the most common type of relationship. And you might end up in this boat. But you have to be prepared to leave. You can't stick around. You can't ask questions. Because there's no question you can ask that can make this rotten tree produce good fruit. It just won't happen. And you will be eating from a dead tree that has no life in it. Only hurt, pain, and misery. For instance, you might meet a woman that treats you so good for 6 months. You think she is just all that in a bag of ruffles. But then at the end of the 6 months she informs you she's going out to the nightclub with her girlfriends. And you are not allowed to come. Now, is this the kind of quality you want in a woman? If you could pick the perfect woman, would you enjoy her being out there accepting drinks from other males? All half undressed with her butt hanging out. All to impress other males. Impress them for what? To play a game of checkers. Yeah, right. Better think again, buddy. But how many men will convince themselves this is something to debate? Instead of putting down their foot and saying, I don't date women like that. Goodbye. But many men don't want to lose access to this tree that produces rotten fruit. Because you can always convince yourself it's a good tree when you spray paint the apples really good. I mean, think about the humiliation of watching your girlfriend get dressed up, or down for that matter, in barely nothing covering her, knowing she's dressed this way not for you, but strange men she doesn't know. And you have to just take it. You just have to just sit there and take it. Because you have been programmed to not be a real strong male, and you are programmed to believe you are the bad guy for saying, wait a minute, this isn't right. This is so wrong. So you end up staying in a dead garden with a rotten tree that has spray painted rotten apples on it. But you do have a choice. Leave the dead garden and the rotten tree without looking back, because though you may have to do this with many trees, one day you might find a garden that is full of life, with a tree that produces good and healthy fruit that is good for your heart, mind, body, and soul. One that produces good fruit year after year, and fruit that is sweet yet nourishing, and that adds to your life, not taking away from your life. It will be a tree that won't take away from your wealth either, nor will you have to pull out your credit card and go into debt for its upkeep. But its own goodness will be the only upkeep it needs, my friends. You have to stop staying with a bad woman and hoping she will one day become good, or she will go back to the way she was when you met her. And in doing so it will allow you to be free so you can one day meet a real good woman. But I will say this to the good women. As long as you share the same dirt with the bad rotten trees, your fruit will be less sweet, and your limbs won't be as strong, and your relationships will suffer just as the rotten tree's relationships will suffer. The rule of thumb is to walk away when you see things are clearly bad. Do not make excuses, rationalize or justify things. Just walk away.